Hi, welcome to this short program for the Birds and Bees Festival on adding a dripper for birds. My name is Margy Terpstra, and I'd like to give you a bit of background first. When we first looked at our property back in 1996, it was May, and the bird song totally filled the air. The birds were high in the canopy finding food. There wasn't much to help them out in the sterile lawn and the invasive bush honeysuckle that totally filled the woodland. But I knew we had potential to make a difference here and to restore the habitat by removing the invasive plants. So we began. Restoring habitat here in our yard has been a true labor of love, and we're still learning things about how these native plants help our birds. But we have gotten to where we have 80% native habitat now, and it really is making a difference. As you can see, over a third of North American species are on the watch list, which means they're at risk of extinction without serious conservation measures. So through the program, you will see birds listed in blue, yellow, orange, or red with their score next to their name. The most endangered bird we have seen is the golden-winged warbler, which has a score of 16. We are so lucky to live here in Missouri. We're right smack dab under the Mississippi Flyway, and 60% of our native migratory songbirds come through every spring and fall. So we are just ideally situated to provide native plants and high quality habitat for all the birds. I hope you're familiar with Doug Tallamy and his wonderful books. He's been a real mentor to us, and we've learned so much about how to sustain birds and other wildlife in our yard. So take advantage of this opportunity coming up Saturday and give a listen to him. Now we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about our habitat. When we talk about native plant diversity, we need it in all the layers of a woodland and in our gardens so that there's plenty of host plants to support the caterpillars and other insects that will feed our native breeding birds. They also need these other components like the flower buds and seeds, fruit and berries, nectar and sap. And yes, our supplemental feeders do help in tough winter months. This native plant diversity feeds migratory birds and nesting birds both in the spring and the summer. And this native plant diversity continues to feed the birds in the fall, through migration, and during the tough winter months like we've had this year. And I think our bird list shows that the diversity of plants really brings in a diversity of bird species as well. To complete a wildlife habitat, there's one more important element to add, and that's water. So why add moving water? Let's find out. All birds need to drink and bathe. The oxygenated moving water is going to stay cleaner. The birds watch the water. They see it as it dances and reflects the light. And they hear that dripping and splashing from quite a distance. So, moving water attracts more birds. So here we're looking at our bubbler in April when it's surrounded by bluebells and poppies and mayaples. The hydrangeas are in the back, the native wild hydrangea. And of course, all those trees that had earlier been engulfed with the bush honeysuckle, but now are free to thrive. Now, there's something I've really seen over the years as I've watched the birds approach the water. They zigzag down through the canopy, and they really need sturdy, stable perches to grab onto. They look around, they want to know they can escape to cover if a hawk would come in. But they really like those perches to be able to get to the water. It helps them be more comfortable in approaching the bubbler. As you can see, we have had quite a response to this bubbler with at least 122 species of birds that I've been able to document, plus two interesting hybrids since the year it was put in, which was the fall of 2000. Now here is a little video of a golden-winged warbler that I took years ago, but it gives you an idea of how much the birds enjoy this water. If you're able to offer moving water all year long, it's important to do that. But there's another approach, and that's to use a heated bird bath during the winter and a different setup the rest of the year. So a 3-season dripper can be added to a bird bath. You just want to check your frost dates, and they're going to vary across Missouri. You want to be sure it's running after the last hard freeze and before the first one late in the fall. Drippers come in many different styles from many sources, and you can even find the parts to buy to make your own. It's important to place these dripper baths in the shade so the water stays comfortable for the birds. And as you can see, we just secured the tubing with this vinyl coated wire on a shepherd's hook that we had. Now, if you have an old bird bath like this one, you can add some pea gravel to bring up that level a little bit, and the birds might be more likely to use them. We also have placed this bird bath where there's plenty of cover around, but you do want to have these water features where you can see them from a window and know who's coming to use them. This is the basic setup. It just hooks up to your water spigot. The dripper kits that we're familiar with usually come with 50 feet of tubing. And this is the website that we purchased our parts from. They were very helpful. There are many available, of course. Now, we added timers, these battery-operated watering timers last year, to conserve water and to keep our trees from having too much water. So they come on alternately for an hour or an hour and a half, and the birds learn very quickly when to come in and use them. Our friend Wally George brought us this idea to use cedar perches at our bubbler and at these dripper baths. And it turns out these birds love the open perches so they can get a good view of things, approach the water, preen and shake those tail feathers, and even feed their chicks. Now, one idea is just to stabilize the perch in a gravel-filled pot. Since cedar is a fairly rot-resistant wood, we decided to try cementing them in Quikrete in a base that we could then just dig a hole and put them next to the bird baths, and that's worked out very well. We recommend that to clean your bird bath, you use a dedicated scrub brush with a bit of hydrogen peroxide in the water. But don't forget to drain that tubing and bring it all inside before there's a hard freeze in the fall. We do hope you enjoy the magic of moving water. Thank you for watching. And do check out our website where you'll find lots of images of birds and other wildlife, along with native plants that you can incorporate into your own habitat.